Hello everyone, this is AJAY SHAH and you are watching AJAY's Costing Concept. So today we are here for a case study digest series and we shall be conducting one of those important topic of performance measurement and evaluation chapter, building block model, right? So there are questions of building block model in case study material and case study scenario. That is what the case study digest is, and from those questions we shall pick up today a building block model questions. What is building block model? See, before we initiate with the building block model, understand there are two measurement performances, two measurement ways. One is financials, one is non-financials. This chapter, performance measurement, talks about non-financial ways, how you can measure the performance of the team or employees or the company, right? In that, there are various models that has been given, like performance pyramid, triple bottom line, balance scorecard, building block model, right? There are various models that has been given. One of them model is building block model. Fitzgerald and Moon introduced this building block model, and why this is important or why we are picking up this today, let us understand that first. There are three questions provided in your case study digest of building block model. A case study is provided, case study scenarios are provided, and that is why this becomes important. Secondly, in the case study material or the institute module where this building block models, the questions are given, there also there are case studies of building block model, and we being a chartered accountant of providing service industry or our performance, either you are practicing into service industry, this model is applicable for service industries, right? This model has been specifically introduced by Fitzgerald and Moon for evaluating the performance of service industries. Currently, Australian like gas industries, electricity industries, they are all implementing this model and their performances are measured according to this, and that is the reason why being a service segment, chartered accountants being into service segment, being a person who is going to practice in future or going into companies, for them this model becomes important to understand, and that is the reason why they have given various questions from this model. Now, let us have the first part of our video, that is the brief intro or brief about this model. So, as I said, Fitzgerald and Moon introduced building block model. This model was introduced for service segments, like, right, for performance of service segments, and this model has three parts, that is standards, dimensions and rewards, right? The first part dimension, standards, and third is rewards, right? Dimension has again two parts, that is the determinants and the results, right? Determinants, how determined you are with regards to the quality, with regards to your flexibility, with regards to your innovation, and with regards to your resource utilization. There are four segments in that. How a company is, or how you are determined, how well you are performing, what is your performance with regards to the quality, how flexible you are, what are your resource utilization that you do, and what are the innovations that you are bringing into your business or for your customers. This determines, or this determines, are then have results. The results can be compared in two ways. Number one is financial performances, that is how financially you are performing, and number two is the comparatives, that competitors, how better or what better you are doing than your competitors, what are your strategies, how you are performing, competitive performance in front of your competitors. Then we have standards. Standard has three areas to focus. The first thing is equity. Everybody should be treated equally, right? Everybody should be treated equally. There should be equity in the organization. A feel of ownership, that is point number two. A feel of ownership should be provided. Everybody should have been responsible in their work area. A responsibility should be given. Ownership feel should be provided. They should not be feel inferior or deteriorate in the firm or in the company. And third is they're achievable. The targets provided, the work assigned, the the responsibility given should be achievable. So you should have the dimensions first, how determined you are with regards to quality, flexibility, innovations and resource utilization. What are your results? How your results are compared with comes to finance, when it comes to non-competitive comparisons. Then it comes to standards. How should be the standards? There should be equity, there should be equity, and the ownership field should be provided. Once you provide a feel of ownership, the target should be given, the responsibility given in the ownership should be achievable. Once you give that achievable, then their rewards are to be provided on the basis of their work done. How the reward should be? They should be clear, absolutely clear reward should be provided. There should not be a misguidance or not an understanding. It should be very fair enough and clear about the rewards that should be given. Those rewards should be controllable in nature. It should not be that today you are providing some rewards, but then in future you are not providing some reward. You cannot achieve those rewards what you have provided. So all the rewards provided on the basis of hierarchies, on the basis of their cultures, on the basis of their performances should be controllable. And those rewards, when you if they are controllable, they should still be motivational. So rewards given should be motivated, and those motivation rewards will lead to your the less employee turnover, a good customers quality, right, performance when it comes to effectiveness or efficiency of your labors, as well as your organization or employees. So that is how the building block model works. So Fitzgerald and Moon were very clear. They said that there are three things to focus. One is standard, dimensions and rewards. When it comes to dimensions, there are two things over there: how determinant you are with regards to your quality, with regards to your flexibility, with regards to your resource utilization, and as well as your innovations for your customers or for your product. And when it comes to performance, there are two ways to compare the results, that is financial performance, how financially you have performed, and the second way is how you are doing in front of your competitors. Then it comes to ownership, right? Ownership should be given, achievable target should be provided, and equity should be treated for all the employees in the organization, as well as the rewards should be very clear, they should be controllable and motivating for them, right? That is what it is. Now coming to the questions, if you understand the questions of our material, right, what questions that we need to go through, let us understand the first question of our material case study digest, right? The first question that comes to is question number 2. Bhala Singh LLP, BS LLP is an accounting firm. Question number 2 of case study, right? There are three kind of questions over here: case study scenarios, and skill based questions. So this is a question 2 of case study, BS LLP. Now understand, before I start reading questions, we are done with the brief of a small concept of what this building block model is. Now, when these models are to be applied, this is one of those very important things to understand. A lot of students come and ask that, sir, we get confused which model is to be implemented, how will we suggest what models are required, or when it comes to exam, we do not understand that which kind of model they are asking. See, when it comes to building block model, if I talk specifically, because this lecture is of building block model, if I talk specifically of building block model, this model is suggested only for service segments, like the organizations who are service providers. So when there is a question of service providers, always follow building block model, right? So you need to, when you read the question, you should know that what kind of business or what kind of organization, what kind of product or services are they providing. If it is related to service, go for building block model. In questions, they might directly put you what is building block model, or they might tell you how would you suggest the building block model, or you would like to implement building block model. On the basis of those, you can implement building block model, or they will ask you that what would you suggest, which model should a company implement, or how the performances should be measured. In that case, if it is service segment, go for building block model. Now, BS LLP is an accounting firm in form of LLP with 20 branches across India. In all the major cities, BS LLP offers the customer services in accounting, assurance, tax, consultancy, business advisory services. Since the country is passing through economic slowdown, hence large number of business are entering into internal or external reconstruction, resultancy, advisory services are in huge demand. The industry of accounting practice in India is mature despite some of statutes enforced recently. As a part of performance analysis, see now, the moment I read performance analysis, that means this question is about understanding how the performance is, or analyzing what is the performance. So basically, this is from performance measurement and evaluation chapter. That is what we can understand from here. Now, which model is to be implemented? As I said, as it is a question of service segment, it is building block model, but still let us read the question further, we might get a better clarity to come. BSLP partners of each service domain collectively meet up top officers on monthly basis. Following performance unit data belong to latest financial was considered as one of the recent conducted partners meeting. Revenue in crores, accounting 690, audit 846, tax consultancy 145, business advisory 34 crores. Growth of revenue over previous year 2%, 9%, 3%, 18%. Net profit ratio, it is 5%, 4.3, 6.7 and 9.8. Revenue in crores of accounting industry as whole. So as a whole industry, the revenue is of 2518 crores. For audits, it is 5430 crores. And for tax consultancy, it is 1652. Business advisory is 286. Remuneration structure at BSLLP. Partners are getting fixed contractual payment apart from sharing profit. Non-partners are getting fixed salary apart from variable pay depending upon rating from their immediate boss or peers. Important. So those who are getting salary, the non-partners are getting fixed salary, and their variable pay is depending upon the rating from their boss and the peers, right? Client relation officer who is working parallel to marketing team, right? First time participated in monthly performance evaluation meeting and presented following data which contained rating from clients of BSLLP. It decided that this rating will also be added in performance matrix. Customer ratings, accounting 3.6, audit 3.2, tax consultancy 3.1 and business advisory 4.5. Required. You are newly appointed management consultant with experience in non-finance performance evaluation techniques. See now, non-financial performance evaluation technique. During discussion at a lunch table, managing partner Mr. Singh explained the above process of performance analysis to you. You quoted about your past experience implementing non-financial performance technique including performance prism, balance scorecard and building block. Building block sounds interesting, right? So now this question comes of building block, that is what we come to know. List essential components of your performance measurement system. What are the essential components? How non-performance measurement, what are the things that you should consider? Describe building block model of performance management. Evaluate the BSLLP's existing performance management system from perspective of three essential aspects. What are the three essential aspects? One is dimension, standards and rewards. Advise the main improvements that introduce a building block model approach can bring to BSLLP. Now first, what are the least essential components of any performance measurement system? See, what are the performance system, the key aspect that management should contain or management should understand? The first thing is that they should have established functional and divisional organization structure along with determination of level of decentralization. They should have a decentralization, right? That is one of those important aspects or one of those important accounting that must be considered. Number two is establishing responsibilities, right? A responsibility centers should be developed and establish responsibility centers and identify the person responsible for performance of each such center. Third is establishing the system to identify KPI, key performance indicators, which perform will measure and establishing the yardsticks. So third way is establish the yardsticks and compare or identify what are the key performance indicators. We give you a function, we do a decentralization, right? And we give you a responsibility. But once the responsibility has been provided, how our performance is, how will you measure the performance, right? So for that measurement of performance, key performance indicators should be identified and accordingly there should be established with the yardsticks and measurement should be done. And fourth is review system in order to compare actual against standard for correction action. What are your standards? What are your actuals? And on the basis of those actuals and standards, a corrective action should be done. So basically first thing is establishing functional organizations. Once you do that, you provide responsibility centers. The moment responsibility centers is done, the third thing what you do is, once the responsibility is given, we find out key performance indicators where we put yardsticks to understand or establish so that we can compare what their performance is. And once that is done, we compare standards with the actuals to know the corrective actions to be taken. These are the essential components of performance measurement. Second is describe building block model of performance measurement. Now this is what we have explained right now, that building block model has three variants, right? The first variant is dimensions, standards and rewards, right? It is mainly for service business. Fitzgerald and Moon has developed this for service business, correct? That is what we discussed. And the three dimensions are dimensions. The dimensions have critical success factors. What the dimension says? The first is determinant. Determinant with regards to what? What is your quality? What innovation are you doing? How flexible you are and how resources have been utilized, right? So I am not concerned the non-financial measurement. See, non-financial measurement talks about what? Non-financial measurement means we are not interested in what profits you are earning, what is your EVA ratio, how company has net wealth, what is the company's net wealth, nothing like that. We are more interested, or we are more into what? The performance. The performance regards to the quality. Performance with regards to how innovation is to be bring into the world. Performance with regards to how the resources are being utilized. Performance with regards to what flexibility do you have for making sure that your customers are satisfied. What is your flexibility when it comes to providing services to the customers? What is the flexibility when it comes to the understanding the requirements of the customer? And those results, that those standards are then the key performance. These are the key performance indicators. And what are the key performance indicators? It talks about ownership, achievability and fairness, also known as the fairness, what is also known as equity, right? So this is what equity. Equity means treating everybody on equal basis, right? So second aspect of building block model are to establish the standards of determine the yardstick level. Model also has three properties which must be processed by performance measure. These properties are ownership, achievability and equity. The third is reward. The reward should be clear, it should be controllable and it should be motivating, right? So in comparing or in controlling the rewards, it should not be that it becomes demotivated. You should definitely control the rewards, right? It should not be like I am very happy, okay, take whatever you want. It should not be so. It should be controllable enough for you. So reward indicates achieve the standards established. Model also suggests three properties: how the clarity is, how they are clear, how they are controllable, and third is what is the motivation behind that. Now evaluation, when it comes to the third question, evaluate BSLV existing performance management system from perspective of three essential aspects. Now see, over here basically the third part is implementing building block model in the question, that is BSLLP. Now understand, BSLLP over here right now, the information what it is given over here, they are not focusing upon determinants, right? The existing performance of BSLLP system does not focus on determinants. What are the determinants? The quality, right? The information in the question, the information is not given about the quality, it is not given about the flexibility, it is not given about the innovations, as well as not given the resource utilization. We are not being provided with that information. What information we are provided? What are our revenues? How this, the information that we are being given is what are our revenues, how growth we are seeing in our revenues, right? And what is the market, or what is the revenue in the market as a whole, that is what been provided for, right? Now net profit ratio, what it is given is again a financial measure. So basically the first thing what we need to understand is that they are not focusing upon determinants, and that is what is the basic essential key success factor of building block model. See, that is what we read over here, right? Determinants is a crucial critical success factor, right? So what are those dimensions? The existing performance management system at BSLV is following to consider results in reference to financial performance. They are merely calculating the financial performance, right? They are not focusing on what? They are not focusing on this part of your non-financial measures. So financial measure, it performs net profit margin and change in results and revenue of previous year, and competitive performance revenue BSLV can be compared with industry revenue to calculate market share. The matrix used by the existing performance evaluation does not contain any major information. That is what I said. Any major information about information from which performance of determinants can be measured. How will you measure the determinants? They have not given any information about quality, nor they have given any information about flexibility, innovations or resource utilization, right? So they are merely focusing on financials as well as the non-financial competitive, how better you are doing when it compares to your competitors. But recently BSLLP customer rating is used, which can be taken as KPI for quality of service. Now, the customer rating which is provided, from that you can decide what are the quality that you have been giving to your customers, right? But it will not decide what flexibility do you have. It will not decide what are the innovations that you have done. It will not decide what are the key resource utilizations that you have done. Standards. BSLLP seems to be measuring segment wise, right? They have different segments: taxation, business consultancy, accounting, auditing, performance industry, and apart from measuring net profit and growth. Ownership. Since organization is not clearly defined in the above case, hence ownership of each of dimensions above can't be identified. You cannot identify what the ownership is, right? It is simply given per, partners, and then we have those who are non-partners. But do we have a specific area ownership? Right? Like for example, a chartered accountancy firm, if I talk about, if one partner is looking after audit, one partner is looking about GST, one partner is looking about direct taxes, one partner is looking about banking segments, they should be given the ownership of those specific areas. Their areas or their responsibility should be of those specific areas. That is not been mentioned in this question. As well as achievability and fairness. To ensure achievability of standards established in the fairness of the same, presently LLP seems to measure segment-wise performance and performance of industry, whereas measure net profit and growth against standard established internally. So they are measuring with the industries, right? What are the industries' revenue, how the industry is performing, but they are not measuring internally establishment, how internally, how better you are doing with the competitors is will not provided. Third is the reward system when it comes to. Now see, the non-partners are given fixed remuneration, right? And based upon their ratings by immediate boss and the peers. The ratings are not based on their clearly given on the basis of their customers' ratings or on the basis of their performance. The ratings, the bonus or the variable what they have been giving are on the basis of the ratings by their peers and the boss. So this is something which is wrong, right? Exactly what should happen is this may become demotivating because it may create, it is not, and weight is not mentioned the boss rating the peer. If such criteria are not rationalized, they may become demotivating. So sometimes what happens, you are not comfortable or your boss is not much happy with your performance or not comfortable because his expectations are very high when it comes to you. So basically then he will not give you good rating, but actually you are performing better. So such rationalism may create to demotivation. So basically the non-partners or the employees should be given bonuses or should be given variable part rewards on the basis of their customers rating or on the basis of their customer relationship. When it comes to partners, the partners also get the share. What they had mentioned over here is that partner also get shares in the profit, right? But see, there was no clear indication that how these profits are calculated. See, what over here it is that partners are getting fixed remuneration apart from the share of profit. But how the share of profit is, there is no clear clarity about that. So reward should be clear. The first thing is, but that is not so. So over here, the basic understanding what we get is that when it comes to this remuneration, right, given in case whether profit or respective division is entirety or whole, whose profit or whose division is. Like if you are working as an indirect tax partner, whether you are getting a share in the profit of indirect tax or as a whole. So there is no clarity about the remuneration of the partners or about the profit sharing of the partners. That should be very clear. It should be controllable. Because see, if in a whole firm I get a profit, my share in a firm's revenue is very high, but my partner's share is low because of his field may be different. In that case, the whole profit of the organization of the company is being shared, then I will get demotivated because though I have worked well, but the whole profit or my efforts, my responsibility, my areas of controllability, I am not getting profit of those areas, I am getting profit as a whole. And my partner who might not be performing well, right, who might not be performing as good as what we are, but as the profit is distributed from an organization as a whole, he may get motivated because he'll get more profits though I am putting my efforts in my field. And that is the reason why this will not improve the performance of bad division, right? It becomes demotivated, right? And that is the reason why this will not improve the performance of bad division because they are also getting reasonable amount as share in profit due to better performance in other departments. Now, what is the fourth point? How will you advise? So we shall advise that in the given question, as the information, the provided information is lower, the first thing that we would advise is There should be information regards to the flexibility. There should be information regards to resource utilization. There should be information regards to innovation that you're bringing, as well as the reward should be clear. Your reward should be controllable. It should be more motivating, right? So flexibility, as I said, BS aspects of flexibility, research and innovation. That is what they have been also provided. Flexibility is important form of prospective from delay of service, the manner and timely. Since staff is keep resource at BS LLP, hence essential it is to ensure optimum and effective resource utilization, right? Further, although the scope of innovation is not much available in accounting firm, but still IT tools or better tools. Even you guys know the Excel formats what we are using, the softwares that we guys have been using. In your articles, you have to learn what kind of softwares are available, the IT tools are available, which becomes more easy and convenient for you to work, as well as convenient for clients to work, right? Further, while defining parameters for the building block model will help to set standards against performance as is required to be measured. Such standards should be achievable, fair, and should also encourage, motivate among staff. Such standards may be financial and non-financial. Building block model will not only set the fair standards, but also establishing the mechanism that how such standards should be established. Further, building block will also help in reviewing reward system, right? As of now, it is not clear how the reward system is. So how building block model will help? How the reward should be? It should be clear, right? So it should be controllable. Reward should be based upon the criteria on which partner is responsible. It should, the partner must share the division profit. Divisional profit should be given to them rather than profit as a whole. So if I have a divisional profit, the way I have been performing, my profits with, if performance is better, clients achieves are better, if my services are better, the remuneration would be higher and my performance would be better and I will get a better profit. And non-partner worker must get variable based upon their productivity rather than from the rankings of peers and the bosses. So case study 2, this is one of those case studies of building block model, a very good case study to revise for, and this shall be where what are the essentials. The first question over here is very good. What are the essentials? As I said, there are 4 essentials. First, decentralization. You should have a decentralization functionality. Second is a responsibility center should be developed and you should be given responsibility. On the basis of that responsibility, your key performance should be measured. Once it is measured, it should be given with the compared with the standards with the actuals to have a corrective action, right? And then you can implement building block model. Coming to the next question. Fine. So now let us come to the next question. The next question is question number 11 of case scenarios. So case study what we have done, question number 2. Now let us switch to case scenarios, question number 11. What is this about? See, again, ABC is a medium-sized chartered accountancy firm. As I said, building block model question will always be for your service organization. So when the moment it says chartered accountancy having its 5 branches in India, their major revenue segment are statutory compliance, taxation, practice, audit, assurance and consultancy. Their founder partner is a recently organized year-end closing meeting with all the working partners and have been the following vision statement for the next year. The next financial ABC should use results and determines based on framework of each revenue segment, and this reward should be seem to be remodeled to clear result oriented one. See, understand the terminology over here. The ABC should use determines based framework for each revenue segment and the current rewards should be remodeled clear result oriented one. So basically there should be have determines. There is the word that is using is determines. The word they are using is how the reward should be provided, right? Correct, for each revenue segment, and those should be clear result oriented. So it should be clear. Now they are what I are asking is that what is the question that is been asked is describe management strategy the founder partner of the firm referring to, list some performance method that might be used. Now understand, in as I said, why building block model? Because it is a service segment organization. So understand the management strategy the founder partner of the firm is referring to is to building block model as proposed by Fitzgerald and Moon. The model was proposed, as I said. Now the whole answer, the whole solution will be of how this, why, which model do you understand, which model do you suggest, and what are the performance measures that should be used. So what are the performance measures that should be used? What is your quality? What is your innovation? How flexible you are? What are your resource utilization? How effectively you have utilized the resources? Further, what should be your rewards? It should be clear, it should be motivating and controllable, right? So why building block model? This model is proposed as a solution of performance measurement in service industry, but can also be extended to manufacturing field to evaluate business performance. This model requires the assessment of results, determinants based framework, wherein determinants are the performance areas and the results affect the success or failure of the determinants. Further, this model also requires setting the fair standards, which will be the fair standards. There should be achievable standards where the ownership shall be given and equally everybody should be treated. Will be measured likely the same controllable factors in the motivation of the staff. So this is what management strategies the founder should follow. So he should keep determinants. He should also be keeping fair standards where ownership and responsibility shall be provided. Further, he should also do what? He should also provide the standards with the rewards which are clear, the rewards which are motivating, the rewards which are controllable, right? That is what we are talking of. Now list the performance measure that might be used. So what are the performance measures that might be used? What are the financial performance? How competitors, how better competitor you are doing. So results, what we talk about? Some financial performance are, one is financial performance, understand. Second is competitiveness. Third is resource utilization. Fourth is quality, flexibility, innovation, right? So there are total 6 as we have seen in our building block model. See, as I have shown you over here, when it comes to this point, these are the 6 standards what you should compare. What? The quality that you have been providing, how flexible you are, what are the innovations that you are bringing, and how the resource utilization is done. Once you are done with that, what is the next thing? How your financial performance is and how better you are with your competitive performance. Now, here, financial performance ABC can be measured through computing. How will you perform financial? How will you compare financial? So, what are their net profits? What are their gross profits? See, if I talk about this itself, so now what are the gross net profits, margins, margin per partner, and revenue over the previous year? This is how the financials will be done. How will you competitiveness? What is the growth? How the growth is? What is the success rate that you are having? So growth in revenue. I'll put this pen, it will be better for you. What is the growth in revenue? What are the success rate that you are converting into revenue? How you are converting your clients? What is your market share? What position are you been able to achieve? What are the resource utilization done is? The resource utilization means recurring work, how the characteristics of the recurring work, how strict adherence of return filing, timeliness that you are doing. Because you know, when it comes to chartered accountancy firm, the deadlines, the compliance is of a monthly filing of returns for indirect taxes or GST or income taxes returns, how compliant you are, how the resources are utilized, how efficient and effectively you have been doing this, right? What are, in order to measure the productivity, what is the charge to total revenue available, how many hours are you working for that, what are your number of hours that you have worked, right? So total available hours, total hours paid can be computed. This can be signify the peak of period. What is the essential, minimum, optimum and effective utilization can be carried on. What are the quality of service? Now when it comes to quality, the analysis should be of critical factors like customers rating, proportion of number of errors, defects done, compliances submitted. While doing compliances like filing of returns, how many errors have you converted? While doing audit, what are the errors that you have done? How the customers have been giving you the ratings? How well you have been able to present to your customers or clients, right? That is what the third criteria of your quality performance is. When it comes to flexibility, or flexibility of what? Flexibility of working, flexibility of productivity, flexibility of delivery of service, the manner and timing of the delivery, right? That might be dimension, number of returns to be submitted on time, total returns, actual number of visits, planned, specific, number of technical areas, accounting, right? So this is what the CA firm is of. How flexible you are when it comes to providing services to your client. How flexibly or what are your ways to handle those clients, right? When it comes to timeliness, whether you fulfilled or not, whether you have done the quality service or not, what are the number of errors that you have done, what are the number of hours that you have worked. That is what the quality decides. Innovation. what are the IT tool innovations that you've done, right? That is arrange the scope of innovation as much available, but still use IT tools can improve the utility for client. Moreover, innovation can be seen offering new range and category of services, like in the coming years, in the coming ways, a new services can be provided, a new ways can be given, client satisfaction can be achieved, clients can be, you can motivate the clients, you can provide the additional services. That is how you will compare your innovation. So these are how the 6 variants are compared. The comparison of financial performance when it comes to net profits, growth, revenues, non-finance competitive performance, what is your market share, how number of clients have been converted, how inquiries are converted into number of clients, what are the targets achieved that you have done. When it comes to quality, what kind of services are you providing, how the customers are satisfied, what is the timeliness, compliances have you done, innovations, what IT tools you are using, what additional services that you have been providing. That is what chartered accountancy firms are. That is what you have learned in your articleship also. Next, flexibility with regards to timeliness, compliances, customers, services, innovations as we have discussed, resource utilization, how productive you are, number of hours that you have provided for your work, how efficiently have you done, what are the strategized hours, what were your actual hours. On the basis of that we can also compare the same, and that is what it is required in the question. So basically what is required in question is that how will you, what are the performance measures that might be used. So these are the performance measures. This question can further be also asked that how should they do the rewards, how the rewards of this chartered accountancy firm, ABC medium sized firm should be. So then that answer would have been how? The answer would have been that the performance should be controllable, the reward should be clear, the reward should be controllable, and the reward should be motivating, right? What are the standards that the firm should follow? They should give equality, they should provide responsibilities, and the targets which are being given should be achieved, right? So this is how this case study scenario 11, that is the second question of building block model, that what we will have discussed. That is, first we discussed the case study 2, then we discussed this what case study case scenario 11. Now again discuss one more case study. That is what case study I will come to, that is on page number 42, right? Mrs. Kates is a retired dedicated mom taking care of her family and doing well. Now this is important case study. So 3 questions what we have done. We started with case study 2, then we started with case scenario 11, now case study 9. Whenever you do a revision, always go for revision of this case study when it comes to building block model. It is one of those very important. Now, Mrs. Kates is a retired dedicated mom taking care of her family and doing every bit to give the best of the upbringing to reach their son. Back in Mrs. Kate's graduation days, career in accounting, business and economics used to grow. There is a drastic change since those times. It has then not so troublesome task to clear the graduation and getting a alluring job. One could easily leap in and land up into the nice little 9 to 5 job, as what we say. Life was easy as no one was busy. Records were all in the real physical books, which were disappearing in modern times with the advent of internet, and it is a Mac generation. Eyes were less trained and brain at pledicity. No emails to check and no formalities to make, no extravaganzas or staying late in office to get rewards and promotions. Moreover, people were easy to deal with. They had patience to listen till end and would react after giving a depth thought. Days changed, months passed and went, thereby a couple of decades when Mrs. Kates has a full-grown son, Mr. Dude, needing to be admitted in a college in this rapid changing and blooming era. She wanted Dude to be in a college that had history of good academics, focusing on the all-round development of students, also meeting the needs of being flexible. Now understand the word. Flexible word is used over here, right? The word that they have used is flexible, right? All-round requirement of development of students and life. She was low on her budget and therefore wanted someone, or if the college itself could help her in financing the college education of her son. She was born and brought up in a small town called Dohapur and lived there all along her life. She was lucky to go on a 5 days tour outside of her country, visiting metropolitan cities like US, like New York and California. She was taken back by the speed and transcendency of the state she visited. She wanted her son to learn some aspects of that life so that he could adjust with the fast pace and street of with passing time. Therefore, Kate started looking for education opportunities in her nearby city called Vilaspur, which was just couple of miles away. There were two eminent colleges in the city, each providing accounting, economics, and taxation courses. Jude had little interest in economics, so Kate did not force him to jump in. Now, the whole story, this was the history that is given in the question. Now, understand how frustrating it is when it comes to such kind of questions in your examination. In that 180 minutes, you need to read the whole question. Now, this kind of historic information what is given has no meaning or has no usefulness when it comes to writing down a solution. Dwayne College of Commerce, DCC, and Haridram College Institute, that is HCI, stood in direct competition to each other and met most of the characteristics expected of by kids. She was excited to know about them, and they had a well renovated huge college campus where students outside the city could stay and accomplish their education goals. The city was expensive and so were the colleges. Now she started pondering about the educational cost, and she began to seek sources that could lend her son educational assistance. To the much of her pride, she came to know from her close friends that DCC took in students with weak financial standings and but with a strong academics. Actually, the college was named after the founder Dayavan Desai, was a great social activist of his time, and during the last 2 years of his life, he vows to build a great co-ed college in his city for lower middle class students who get left behind only because of their economic conditions. The efforts from the history and the legacy created successful businessmen and women, tax concern and economic scholars. HCI College, on the other hand, was also down to earth and did not bias among lower or higher classes. They charged relatively low fees. Important. They charged relatively low fees compared to DCC. DCC was popular among youth and gave great professionals who, after the graduation of the college, pursued further studies. From last few years, many students were complaining about the rapidly changing tuition rates, to which they want on a student strike demanding rate cut. Colleges had been very specific in relation to quality and taught that teaching fees and academic development cost has been increasing enormously, which had to be substantiated by increase in cost of books and tuitions. Failing all attempts, many students decided to switch to a mix of part-time lectures and a part-time job, through which college costs can be met and burden on their families can be balanced. They required college to plan class schedules innovatively so that students' studies do not get hampered, and at the same time they can continue their jobs. Both of the colleges were trying to come up with online courses and distance learning materials to assist their students in the event their students failed to attend any lectures. In addition, S is also planning and hiring additional. This is also one of those important things. HCI is also planning on hiring additional freelancer of work where students during evening time to groom their skills and assist them to do well studies. So this is something additional what HCI is providing. See, now here we are talking or here we are reading the whole question what we read till now, that Katz is looking for a college for her child or for her son, and there are two options that she has. Now DCC is more popular, but HCI college has lower fees as compared to DCC, number one. Number two, what we read is HCI is also planning to hire additional freelancers. So this is the additional service what HCI is providing, right? The reward system of the college is not clear, and there is less information on how teachers are being motivated to serve the student to the best of their interest. However, college image and brand total depend on the efforts of the teachers or professionals. The total revenue generated in the city from college is around 500. The revenue generated by DCC is most year is 180. So the share of DCC is higher when compared to HCI, right? But the reward system is not clear. That is what is been provided. Further, Dude developed a solidarity among his class friends and decided to go to DCC as this was the college where other friends were wanting to go. However, Kate was concerned that Dude could spoil his career if he concentrated on picking things other than his studies. She wanted someone to guide her based on the facts and figures of both the colleges so that an informed decision could be reached. She had modest savings from her job and wanted to spur her son to value those and understand the sheer importance of precious student life, which one gone will never be back. To harness all the information she had and relying on your omnipotent knowledge, Kate wants you to provide you and the facts annexure about the two colleges. Further, so Kate is appointing you to understand, to make sure that you can give a better consultancy to her son. In a nerve-wracking voice, she remarked, would you need any other information for your research to be extensive in serving my purpose? She continued, it was my serendipity to have gone through many troubles and find such detailed information, and that she will try to gather more if she could. You, in a calming and consoling voice, said her that information was more than needed and it was really appreciated of her to pull in so much detail. It was all her love and care for her son that transpired on the papers. She went by thanking you for considering her case and agreeing to help her son due to make an informed choice. Now you begin contemplating of what could be done and exactly which model to be employed to get the job done and render a research-driven analytical advice. After a day of pondering, you recollected of hiring, learned, and Fitzgerald and Moon building block model and started to gather all the facts she provided. Now you have a thought that basically there are two questions to be answered for her inquiries to be resolved. What are the two questions? Number one, could building block model be applied in her case, and if yes, explain the model briefly and evaluate the performance of the two prominent colleges. Now this is the annexure that is been attached. See now, number of inquiries, accounting, budgeted, actual, taxation, budgeted, actual is being provided. Student turning up for applications, right? Percentage increase in revenue, net profits, that is number of lectures, how many number of lectures have been provided, number of number of teaching days in a year, and number of days lectures received, students passing and students getting job. Now see, we are here implementing building block model, right? Fitzgerald and Moon introduced a building block model and we have to explain you about building block model. Now building block model, when it comes to, see, before you read, see, just go through the solution once, you will understand. The solution is this big, right? And these are the workings that have been done. Now understand, when it comes to the solution, what happens? This building block model talks about two things, two ways to measure your performance. How good when it comes to your financial measurement, how good when it comes to dimensions. Dimensions with regards to the quality, dimensions with regards to the flexibility, dimensions with regards to the innovations, and dimensions with regards to your determines with regards to your resource utilization. And what are the rewards that you are getting, whether they are clear, whether they are motivating, and how this performance are measured. Now, you, by going through this chart, this facts and figures, see, understand number of inquiries and admissions when it comes to. There are two things what we have ticked in the question when we were ready. The number one was that the fees of HCI is lower than DCC, right? They charge very low fees compared to DCC. So financially, HCI is better when it comes to DCC, right? Because they are charging lower fees. The first area. Second area, what I read over here is that HCI is planning to hire additional freelancers. So they are giving additional better quality. They are more flexible when it comes to providing services to groom their students and to understand their requirements, right? The reward systems are not clear, but in the recent year, the revenue generation of DCC has generated a high revenue. So financially, if I compare on the basis of revenue model, DCC is better than HCI. right? But when it compares to fees model, the way they are charging their fees, HCI is better than DCC, right? Further, if you observe the profits are again DCC are higher than compared to HCI. If you observe the number of lectures, the lectures it comes to DCC are higher than HCI. When it comes to number of teaching days, they are same. When it comes to number of lectures received, again DCC is better. Students passing are higher in HCI. So the performance of HCI when it comes to students passing is higher. Students getting job, again 7,000 students out of 7,500. So if you calculate a percentage, the percentage is higher when it comes to HCI, as well as percentage increase in revenue. And if you understand the inquiries and admissions, see, whenever I talk about, you talk about colleges, the more number of people the inquiries are converting into admissions, that means there is a better quality, the better flexibility, the better resource utilization that the college has been doing. So if you compare that also, out of 9,000 total number of inquiries, 7,800 or students turning up application was out of 7,800, 6,000 were achieved when it comes to DCI, but when it comes to HCI, out of 7,900, 7,600 were achieved. Now, how would you answer this? So, first thing is, what is this model that you already discussed? This model was developed by Fitzgerald and Moon. It is more of service industries. It is already in place of performance standards. Make henceforth improvements could bring strat building block model criteria using this model. Right, both colleges can use. They are into service segment. They are into service industries of education. Now, what are the dimensions that you talk about? So, as I said, there are two dimensions: financials and non-financial. When it comes to financials, competitive performance and financial performance. How you are performing than your competitors. How your performance is in front of your competitors. And the second thing is the financial. How your revenues are. What are your profits? What are your growths? The non-financial determinants are the quality, flexibility, innovations and resource utilizations, right? Standards. Think standards as targets, they are achieved based on what attribute skills have been provided. For the standards, they are agreeable and acceptable. Concerned department and responsible individual should be must possess the feature of ownership, equity and achievability. And the rewards must be motivating, clear and controlled, right? So think reward as resource of motivation that can drive the staff to work wholeheartedly towards the achievement of set targets, so that organization can successfully achieve both its financial and non-financial in the long run. Now the reward should be of three qualities: clarity, motivation, control. Now the second question that is what been asked. What they have asked is, what would you suggest? Evaluate the performance of prominent colleges. How would you suggest? So now Mrs. Cart wants us to evaluate two prominent colleges of Vilaspur city, come up with some conclusion. Going by the facts provided by Mrs. Katz, it's appeared that both colleges are doing very well overall, right? However, the exact position of the colleges can be known from detailed analysis of both qualitative and quantitative information available to us. This means we have to count both financial and non-financial goals to each organization stored below 20. Now see, so this is the whole percentage that has been converted, right? The number of students what we have, the number of application divided by number of inquiries, how many applications were received and what number of inquiries were converted. This is higher over here. HCI is higher, right? When it comes to taxation, again HCI is higher. When it comes to market share, DCI is higher. When it comes to financial performance, right, net profit margin, DC is higher. When it comes to quality, students passing, as I said, HCI is higher. When it comes to resource utilization, this is because there 240 out of 250, 240 days the lectures have been received, they will be available, and over it was only 230. Now, other than this, how would you suggest? So how your answer should be? See, the answer should be into first thing is financial. When it comes to the financials part, right, DCCI has revenue and profit margins. Financial performance can be measured by percentage increase in revenue and net profit margin, right? DCC remains the best performance and absolute revenue and profit allowed it performs so adequately in other business. This suggests that it may not be making the necessary investment in service and quality to satisfy the students' needs. When it comes to competitiveness, the competitiveness it comes to HCI is higher because the leader numbers inquiry turning into application. How successful you are in converting your application or in converting your inquiries into your application or number of students. So there HCI is higher as compared to GCC, and this is where the reason could be the low fees charge or the services provided. There also be assessed in terms of sales growth, market share and growth in customers. We cannot measure on year-on growth for revenue or profit because prior year data was not given. But when it compares to current year, right, the DCC is greater. Obviously, as I said, DCC's profits are greater, the revenue model is greater. When it comes to quality, I would say by reading this question, we can understand the number of passing students is higher of HCI. That is what we see. So quality of college tutoring can be measured by relative number of students passing out of the total students. When it comes to flexibility, again HCI earns 1 point extra over here because the freelancing extra additional classes or extra additional faculty that they have been providing. So flexibility means responsive to change time. Hence, HCI is planning to freelance lecture to help students during evening time. That is what their staff is. When it comes to resource utilization, the productivity of staff and the lectures over here in this aspect, the number of days, teaching days available with compared to number of days. So 250 days were available, but out of that 240 days have been achieved by DCC, that is higher, and 230 days was achieved by HCI. Again DCC wins the race over here. When it comes to innovation, innovation comes with bringing up new services, new delivery, new points. Over that in the case there is a in that case changing demand environment. In the present case, we know that most of the students are working simultaneously to meet their college education costs. In regards to this situation, there is a need to bring more online classes and distance courses, virtual classes, so that the time cannot be the barrier of learning. Both colleges striving for the same and they stand in close competition of the same, because innovations both are trying to come up online, both are coming with the distance learning education. That is where they stand. So considering all this aspect, considering the services, considering the quality, considering the innovations, considering the flexibility, HCI stands, delivers a superior quality service, flexibility, making innovation attempts as compared to lower price to meet the emerging industry, which acts comparative edge over the direct competitor DCC. So considering this, we would always suggest that go with HCI. Why, sir? Because number of pass out ratio is higher, the fees are comparatively lower, the quality is better, the flexibility is always available, they are more innovative, as well as they are utilizing their resources, they are making sure that additional classes are available. No doubt DCC is also better, but when it comes to providing information, how this model is or how this information is, it is always that HCI has gone more gain points other than DCC. See, DCC was very good when it comes to performance of finance, profits, right? When it comes to the finance performance of profits, but Mrs. Cates is not interested in understanding the profits. She is more interested in where my child would more be beneficial. So in that case, quality, HCI gets 1 point. In that case, flexibility, HCI get 1 point. Innovation, both are same. So HCI is 2 plus points. When it comes to the resource utilization, DCC gets 1 point, right? When it comes to non-comparative measures, how many applications you have received in compared to your inquiries, HCI get 1 point. So overall, HCI has higher points compared to DCC, and that is the reason why we would suggest that students should go into HCI college rather than DCC. Now, further a note is given. What the note is, we do not get into discussion of standards in the rewards block of the model, since Mr. Katz is not able to provide more college information, but whatever information is available, on the basis of that, it can be definitely be seen that HCI is better, and that is what, considering both financial and non-financial goals of each college, we can claim that HCI delivers a superior quality, flexibility, making innovation attempts at comparatively lower prices. That is how we shall also suggest Dude to accordingly select his college. Now see, if you observe the whole solution, the question was too lengthy. Such kind of questions may demotivate you when it comes to appearing in exams, because that 180 minutes precisely what you get. This 15 minutes before that exam paper what you get, in that 15 minutes do not read such kind of questions. Try to read as many questions as possible and to evaluate that which question you will be trying to attempt, which you will be attempting later, which options that you will be selecting. Why I am suggesting you not to read this question at the early stages, that such kind of question if you read in first 15 minutes, the whole time will be consumed by such one or two questions and you will not be able to read further questions, and that may lead you demotivated, that may waste, or you may not be able to read further question. That's what will happen is that in that 180 minutes you will keep on reading another questions rather than providing solutions. So such lengthy questions, try to read them as late as you can. So first you read all those questions which are given in the question. If you are very firm enough and you are very fine with the providing solutions of those questions, then attempt them and go for the solution. Such lengthy 2 to 3 pages questions has a lot of time waste, and a lot of time what I have read from students or what I have received from students is that, sir, when it comes to writing down, we start reading from first para, two paragraph, third para, fourth para, fifth para. On the time we reach fifth para and we know what the question is, we forget what was asked or what was given in question 2 or para 2 or para 3. And that is where we fail. So that is why I suggest that when it comes to reading questions, do not read lengthy question in the first 15 minutes time what is provided to you. In that, all the short questions, all those questions should be read, and you should evaluate yourself performance and how, which questions you are going to attend or which not. Now, building block model, if I talk about, 3 questions we have done: case study 2, case study 9, case scenario 11. Case study 9 is an important case study for you, which we have discussed at the last. This case study 9 will help you to revise full of your building block model. The whole video what we recorded has 3 parts. First we started with what the concept of building block model is. Then we started with what kind of questions are given in this, that is 3 questions what we discussed. And last conclusively I started with what care or how you should attend this question when it comes to examination, right? Fine. So let us come to the next question of building block model. Now we have already gone through 3. This is the one question which is important because this is a skill based question what they have asked, right? So a skill based question of building block model. We have gone through case studies, we have gone through case scenarios. Now this is a question of skill based. So it becomes important to understand what additional such kind of questions can be covered when it comes to building block model. So question number 2 of skill based question that we are going through. The SOUP Limited offers a range of variety beauty parlor services like hair care, body care, manicures, pedicures, skin care, etc. It has 150 centers across the country. The business of beauty parlor is extremely competitive in all the region, and each parlor operates autonomously and managers are able to offer customized services. SOUP's mission statement is to inspire and enhance beauty by using knowledge and experience to establish long-term relationship of trust and commitment with clients. SOUP wants to provide their clients highest level of satisfaction with emphasis on customers service customization, professionalism, work and clinical responsibility, and clients feedback, right? Company has developed a website where it creates blogs, post high quality content related to beauty tips. Website is also connected to social media to reach customers. If a customer searches SOUP services on search basis, it automatically redirects to a place of nearest service center. SOUP all services are presently booking through online channel. Result of one of the SOUP's center are given below, and the column headed center shows average figures of all the centers. So ROUP is one of those centers, and the company has a center, the average of all the other centers that has been provided. There are 2 comparisons that they have been given. So the revenue of ROUP and the average revenue can be calculated. The gross profit are provided. Number of senior beauticians, number of junior beauticians are provided. Number of website hits and number of total service booked online are provided. Number of customers taken, repeat customers. See, if you read the question before we move further, what it is of, it is a question of building block model, right? And what they are asking is analyze group are related to other centers and explain how the standards or reward blocks support in dimensions block in case of building block model. So we are required here to understand, or we are required here to evaluate that how we are better, or was our performance compared to other centers that the group is doing, right? So one, if I read this, if you understand that total number of customers that we have booked, or total number of customers that we have served is 9,000 as compared to 12,000. But if you see the number of customers that are repeated, right? When a customer repeats, when there is a customer satisfaction, right? You go to any restaurant, or you go to any place, or you take any services. When do you repeat those services? When there is a customer satisfaction for you. You are very much satisfied with the services. You want to have that, okay, furthermore, or you are having a good time over there, or you are enjoying the services that they have been provided. So then there is a question of repeating. So if you observe, the number of repeat customers out of 9,000 is 1500, and over here out of 12,000 is 1600. So probably the ratio, if you understand or observe, number of repeated customers is very high, right? Further, number of total time spent completing jobs is lower, but again the customers are also lower. So we will evaluate on the basis of percentage wise. Number of new services packages are provided at 3, over here it is 2. So basically new services, the one of those building block models dimension, if you see, it is innovation, right? So while reading the question itself, we come to know that the word innovation, or what are the innovation that we are providing is, so compared to on an average we are more innovative, right? If you observe, compared to on an average you are more having a customer satisfaction, the quality is higher, because the quality would be good, then itself the customer would be repeated, otherwise the customer would have been not, right? Customer percentage in terms of feedback, see the feedback is also high, so again that is where we have been doing better. The financial aspect, if you consider financial aspect, we have 91, and out of that 48 is our profit. So if you see, the profit sharing ratio is also high when it comes to the financial aspect of the company. Let us read notes. Beauticians are categorized as senior if they have been qualified for more than 3 years, right? Junior beauticians if there are both beauticians who have been qualified for less than 3 years, and the group launched 3 new services packs this year. 3 coupon of worth 600 for services over and about 1200. A head massage costing 240 instead of usual 480. A haircut of 120 will be charged, which usually costs 360 for all the customers booking hair spa. Now, there are 3 new services pack produced. Revenues of these 3 services are 792, 696 and 648 lakhs. 2 comparable services are developed by other centers, which are 528 and 504. So we have done a better innovations. Our revenues from our innovations are better, right? We have performed much better, because on an average the revenue collection is 528 and 504, but our collection is of 792 and 696, that is higher. Customers at a particular rate from 1 to 10 on online feedback, with 10 being the best. So we have received 86% there out, and the other average is 77. So our customer feedback is also better, right? Now what are we required to do? A Chief Executive Officer CEO of SOUP has recently attended a webinar and heard about building block model of performance measurement. The CEO is interested to know how the dimension block could be applied at SOUP Limited. Analyze group's performance into other centers. Explain how the standards and rewards block support the diamonds. So what are the standards? Standards are 3 things what we have said. The responsibilities, that is ownership should be provided, equity should be maintained, and they should have achievable targets. When it comes to rewards, the rewards are kind of they should be clear, they should have the reward should be clear, they should controllable, and they should be more and more motivating, right? So these are the common bullet points, what the universal points, what we call it as, or specific points when it comes to building block model. Now explain how the standard is what. Now when I do comparison of building block models, my group's performance with other centers, the question comes into competitiveness, financials, customer satisfaction, right? One of those is customer requirement. Next what is coming is innovations, flexibility what we have, right, and resource utilization. So we have already gone through that. When it comes to finance part, roof gross profit ratio is higher, as compared to what the ratio is. If you do 48 lakhs divided by 91 lakhs and 51 divided by 106, the gross profit. So financially Roop is better than other centers, right? If you see number of website hits, our website hits are a kind of competitiveness, our own competitiveness what we observe, right? So when it comes to our website hits and the people have booked, the ratio of 15,000 9,000 what we compare, that is the ratio, that is what also compared over here. So our ratio website hits and competitiveness, we are better as compared to other customers performances, right? We are better when it comes to financial profit performances, right? Then I will read the whole question, but I'll just give you an output. The quality what we are talking, number of repeated customers are again higher. As I said, out of 9,900 customers what we have served, 1,500 are such where they have repeated. So it's a sign of good customer satisfaction, right? And average is only 1,600 out of 12,000. Next, flexibility. When it comes to this is where I want you to consider the flexibility is not that good as a whole if I see, because the time taken for this job compared to the time taken by average center is higher for us. But this is something what we cannot compare because there are various services that we have been providing. So when you provide a multiple service, you cannot compare the time taken per job or hours taken per job. I'll just explain this because see, in articleship also, as I said, that there is a question of GST returns filing, there is a question of income tax return filings, right? So there is audit procedure, internal audit, statutory audit. You cannot compare how the time has been taken with other service or average time, because some people or some might be doing more of internal, so they would require more time. Some would be into return filing, so they require less time. So such kind of comparison cannot be done or cannot be followed, and that is the reason why flexibility cannot be questioned. But if specifically this question would have been provided with regards to the services, or with regards to that how this with what kind of services, what time average time is taken under this services, it would be a better way to compare. Correct? Resource utilization, as I said, resource utilization is revenue per beautician. But again over here I would like to add one point. See, your resources, if I talk about, you have total 90 senior beauticians and 60 junior beauticians, right? So the ratio of beauticians are as compared to junior and to senior, like if I have 60, if 60 is to 90 is the ratio, but otherwise if you observe 50 is to 110 is the ratio for the other center. So here it is 1 is to 1.5, here it is 1 is to 2. So definitely the ratio is higher. So because of that, as the ratio is higher, the resource utilization is much better when it comes to Roop, because your senior beauticians are the one who have qualified for more than 3 years. They have knowledge for more than 3 years. The juniors are somewhere who are less than 3 years, right? So the number of people or the number of attendees what you have, or the number of staff what you have, is the ratio of 1 is to 1.5. But normally in other centers it is 1 is to 2. So that is how you can evaluate that how your resource utilization is, and on the basis of that you can utilize that how the revenue is, the revenue that you have been earning per beautician. And if you observe, the revenue of Roop is less when it comes to per beautician as compared to the revenue of other centers. But see, the revenue is less because we have more of junior staff than senior staff, because the ratio over here is not maintained. So I cannot exactly compare this thing also. See, I'm not saying this because it is given in the solution that you should understand this, calculate this, but I'm just making sure that if this question comes in exam, how will you handle this, right? So to handle this, you should have something knowledge of what that how the comparisons are done. So we compared customer satisfaction, we compared flexibility, but in flexibility we come to know that we cannot compare flexibility over here in that manner, because we are not given job per, or we are not given time taken per job, right, per task, or the average time is taken. So in that, as I said, in a CA form also you would be observing, as there are multiple works to do, the average time cannot be compared that easily. Similarly, when it comes to resource utilization, we cannot compare this because the resource utilization might not be as a good source of comparison, on being a reason that sometimes you have different kind of employees, there are more of senior employees with you, there are more of junior employees with you. So depending on that, the pay scales or depending on the rate scales might be different, right? Further, innovation, as I said, innovation when it comes to, we have 3 new packs, on an average it was 2 new packs. The revenue from 3 new packs is higher compared to the revenue from that. So in that matter also we are doing much better. So this is what financial aspects are already been discussed. As I said, financially competitiveness, financials, right? You have quality of service, flexibility, resource utilization, and innovation. These are the 6 bullet points that you need to understand when it comes to building block model. So we have compared all those 6. You must go through this, you must read this. And the second question is that how would the rewards should be, right? So the standards, if I talk about, the standard should be something which should be achievable, fair, and encouraging. So if you're asking when it comes to this performance measurement, they should be more of achievable. They should be the ownership or responsibility should be provided, and as well as the employees must take. It should be fair, equity should be maintained. When it comes to rewards, the rewards must be motivated, right? They should be clear. They should be motivating and controllable, right? So if standards and rewards are set appropriately, the staff will be engaged and they will be motivated, and it would be more likely that the goals or dimensions of the organization will be achieved. So basically they are not asking that how the standards are, right, how the rewards are. They are asking that how they should be set or they should be kept. So basically that is the reason why we are answering that your standards should be more of ownership oriented, they should be achievable, they should be fair. Your reward should be more of motivated, clear, and controlled manner, so that your staff or your employees, you call it as, they are getting motivated and dimensions can be achieved. In this question, they have merely asked that how will you evaluate the dimensions, right? So when it comes to competitiveness, as I said, the jobs are higher, so this is a good outcome what we have. It has performed considerably better than the average centers when it converted into competitiveness. How, sir, you might have a question that, sir, here you are, by going to the solution, that we come to know that how we will consider this competitiveness, or how they have calculated number of inquiries, customer satisfaction. But see, this is the standard thing what you have. Like as I said, when it comes to if this was a question of food industry, how many number of customers have repeated, what are the number of orders that have been repeated, how many inquiries have been converted, right? So what is the profits that you are earning, what are your self new innovation, new dishes that you have introduced. So when it comes to such kind of industry questions, you can answer it that way. Customer satisfaction can also be achieved by what are the number of complaints that you have received, how many number of customers are rejecting your product. So you come to know that your rejections are less, then there is high customer satisfaction. The number of repeaters, high customer satisfaction, right? Customers ordering again, high customer satisfaction. So these are the various ways how you can calculate. Innovation, when it comes to the question, how innovative, what are the new things that you have been introduced, tried, how your customers are loving your new products, that is what innovation is. Flexibility, when it comes to how customized, how better you are, what new services or how time taking it is as per the customer's requirement, how you are fulfilling, that is what it is. Resource utilization, when it comes to the question of resource utilization, what additional or what is the benefit per employee, what is the benefit per resource, number of revenue per hour, revenue per employee, right? Number of customers attained per employee, or per number of customers attained per hour. So that is what the resource utilization is all about. Financial aspects, competitiveness, we have already discussed. Innovations and all those we have already discussed. So these are the 6 areas where you should focus, and further after these 6 areas, further you have to focus on standards and the rewards, right? The questions can be asked. I repeat, the question over here we were asked that how the 6 dimensions should be, right? But the question can be asked like how should be the rewards. So then you will analyze what are the rewards given in the industry, what are the rewards given by this group, what are the average rewards that are provided, what is the earning per employee, what are the rewards per employee, what is the retention of employee, how many experienced employees we have, and then we can calculate on the basis of that whether the rewards are clear, whether the rewards are controllable, whether rewards are motivating or not. So it is in this question they have only asked about dimension, but they can ask you about various other factors also, like as I said, when it comes to your rewards of controllability, clearability, and motivation, right? So with this, we finished this question of building block model, and we finish building block model concept from this case study digest, and that will be helpful for you to understand case scenarios, skill based questions, as well as case studies. Building block model, three important things that you need to remember: standards, dimensions, and rewards. What we talk about over here, the chart, what we always say, right? Dimensions, that's two things: how determinant you are, what are your services, or what are your results, either financial, non-financial. Determinant, what is the customer satisfaction, what is the innovation, what is the flexibility that you're achieving, how resource you have been utilizing, and your reward should be more clear, controllable, and motivating, right? So this is what the building block model is all about. Thank you for watching.